Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Dear White People, Season 1, Episode 2. It's simply called Chapter 2. Full spoilers for the episode as always. And yes, we are finally back with more of this. People asked us to do more of it after we did the first episode back when this launched. We did technically say we'd do it starting in June, we just missed that slightly. It's just a little
I
bit.
think this is the first thing where it's back by popular demand.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever done that before, where people, we did that in episode one, and we thought, oh, maybe, because I think we said when we watched it, oh, that's probably could have discussion for each episode. It's just at the time we were swamped with shows that it was impossible to fit it all in, and then people asked us to just do it later. So here we are, we're doing it later. Um, Not sure how the frequency of these will be. I think we're currently aiming for two a week, but it could speed up a little bit depending on how we are for time. So you could probably expect another one by the end of the week, and by the end of the week I do mean Sunday. It may even be Sunday before you get the next one. But here we are. We've got the ball rolling with episode 2. And this episode focuses on Lionel, who's the journalist character who, and the story kind of parallels with the first episode because it's kind of his side of that as that's going on. It's the same sort of time frame. Now, I don't expect all 10 episodes to be that, even though it would be kind of funny if all 10 episodes were the same, like, few
Yeah.
days, but from different character perspectives. I don't think that's what it's going to be.
So just before we actually talk about this episode,
Mm.
a lot of credit to the show in the fact that it's been 2 months since we watched it, and I remember that first episode like near perfectly.
Yeah, I do as well. Yeah, I actually, because the other day I thought, oh, I should probably rewatch the first episode before we do episode 2,
And then just didn't.
and I didn't. And I'm like, you know what? I don't even feel like I'm hindered by this. I feel like like character names probably drifted. Like
Yeah,
I don't remember what the white boyfriend's name is. I'll find out again when he pops back up. But like I remembered Sam. I was like, oh, that's her name. She's Sam.
yeah,
And I was surprised I remembered that because usually if I've went 2 months and only watched one episode, there's no way I would have remembered that. But I
yeah.
remembered Sam. But no, so we focus on Lionel, who is the journalist character, as I said from the first episode. Follow his side of it. We have a little bit of narration again at the start from Gus from Breaking Bad slash Better Call Saul, and I thought this episode was really fascinating because it clearly showed that it's not just going to tackle the one thing. Like this episode is just equally as much about sexuality as it is
Yeah.
about race. Although it does parallel the two quite nicely, and they kind of intersect a little bit. And at the start of the episode, we clearly see that Lionel is in this really awkward spot where if he's in a room with white people, he feels that he's the black guy there, so he feels a little bit out of place. If he's in a room full of black people, he feels a little bit out of place because he's kind of, at least at this point in the episode, it was like he's kind of the nerdy, quiet kid.
Yeah.
We see a flashback where he's been teased at school for dressing up as Geordi from Star Trek, and like you get this sense, and it's kind of like, and it's funny because obviously being a white guy, I can't really relate to the racism aspect of it or feeling out of place in that sense, but I can damn sure well relate to being a nerd and being like socially awkward because I'm pretty socially awkward, and it's this kind of thing where he's in this really awkward place because he doesn't really feel like he belongs to any one group, and that ties into the overall episode where when his sexuality comes up, and he at first he's like, I don't like labels, I don't like to specify what I am, and it kind of like ties in neatly with the themes of that where he's refusing to commit to a group, as it were.
Yeah. I also think again, he's kind of like he's a bridge between the two different topics that were at play here, and it's the same way that last episode Samantha, because she was biracial, she was a bridge between the two worlds. So it's kind of an ongoing theme here, where it's kind of bridging two separate places.
Do you know what I think's interesting about that? Is that I think in both cases you didn't know that at first. I don't think you looked at Sam and went, "Oh, she's half and half." She's not. She looks black at first, and it's not
Yeah,
until you hear she's actually or one of her parents were white that you go, "Oh, okay." And it's same with Lionel. If you mean there's nothing to say from the when you first see him that he's a gay guy or
no, of course not.
he's sexually undetermined as of yet. He's not decided what he is or
Yeah,
discovered what he is yet. But obviously it comes out through the episode, and that's a big thing. He's not told anyone, and when it's brought up, when he's a newspaper editor brings it up, he just casually mentions that he's gay in a conversation because you're gay, blah blah blah, and he finishes a sentence and he's like, "Gay, and he kind of half apologizes, but he kind of realizes that he's just not kind of decided it yet, and he even jokes about, "Oh, you're in that kind of have a crush on your straight roommate phase."
yeah. I love that's the moment where we learn, because it's where he hears the mama sex and he's jacking off, and you see his imagination, and you see them both at first, but then it zooms up and it's just focused on him. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I get it.
At first, it just starts on him. It starts on both of them, yeah, and it's just like it could easily be either that he's attracted to. But it focuses in on his roommate, and that's his roommate Troy, and that's when you realise, oh, okay, he is actually gay, even though he's not willing to like call himself that quite yet.
Yeah.
He's kind of
He hasn't fully accepted it, but he definitely feels it.
Yeah. Yeah, so we go through the episode and he's sort of refusing this, and he gets invited to this party that the theatre kids are putting on, and I actually really like this part of the episode because it was a solid 5 minutes or so without almost any dialogue. It's just him going around and being awkward at a party, and feeling out of place, and he kind of makes eye contact with this guy that he's kind of eyeing up, and he goes into the bathroom, and the guy comes out of the bathroom, and they have the awkward moment where he kind of catches him looking at his penis, and of course he has this great little reaction where he's like, oh, so he's impressed, but then of course the guy, like, he leaves his phone in there, and the guy like has it, and he ends up he traces him outside, and that's when they properly meet. And this guy ends up having a very similar view to him, where he's like, oh, I don't like labels, and my roommate, my female roommate that you just met, oh yeah, we're kind of roommates, but we have benefits, and he invites them back to theirs, and it ends up being this weird thing where they both try to come onto him, and it's like this attempted threesome kind of thing, and it's here where Lionel kind of realizes this is all kind of bullshit, where he's like, what is this? Like, he can tell that the other guy is just putting on the dirty talk with the girl. It's like, no, you're clearly just gay, and this is just.
She's your wing woman.
Yeah, and she kind of realizes this, and that it's not a real thing, and that he is just gay, and she's just kind of
it's
being
weird because the episode it starts with like he doesn't like labels. It's like he's very insecure about who he is, and I think by the end it says labels aren't inherently a bad thing. They can they can help you determine who you are.
I think what it's kind of saying about labels here is like labels can feel restrictive to a person. Like, if you feel like you don't fit into something, maybe you want to be a bit more free about who you are, whether it's to do with sexuality or whatever else. Like I referred to myself as a nerd earlier. Do I actually identify as that? I mean, I guess I don't really think about it. It's kind of what society.
It's an aspect of you.
Yeah, but yeah, like, I would still say it because, and I think the realization here is that he has to realize he's part of that group, so that when it comes up, like, should gay rights come up, he can stand up and say, no, this is part of who I am. I need to defend this and say it, talk about it.
How can anyone else accept him as not as just as being gay, but as part of their group if he can't even accept who he is? Because that's kind of it. He's not willing to put the label on it because he doesn't want to commit to being that. Yeah,
and obviously he's got a conscience. He's not willing to let his editor leak this story that Sam's the one who set the party off, the Dear Black People party. And we've seen the sort of result of that in the first episode. We see that again. We see that Sam kind of respects him for it, and that's all cool. But ultimately, at the end of the episode, he's getting his hair cut from Troy because Troy offered to do that earlier on, and he's about to shave, and he's like, and he says it first, and Troy doesn't hear him, so he has a chance to back out, which I actually really like. I like that he has an option to like crawl back into his shell and not do it. Yeah. But then he just comes out and says, "I'm gay." And what I really liked about this is, now this won't always be the way this goes down, but I like that Troy just, it doesn't even faze him. Like, he just keeps, because throughout the episode he's been like, oh, you're going to be swimming in pussy after what you did with the paper, and you feel like he might react in an inappropriate way.
Yeah, I think this is meant to say that colleges by and large are very liberal left, just by their nature of who attends them. Well, not entirely.
I don't even necessarily think it's saying anything about that. Like, this
I just mean in the sense that even when you had the when he was talking about you were swimming in pussy, and there was the other guys there, and you had the black guy who was fiscally conservative. He wants to be clear that he's still very liberal in that sense.
Yeah, screw poor people was
screw poor people, but he's still liberal in terms of race, sexuality, and anything else like that. So it's very clear like that message is there.
But what I liked about this is it was like, he was so worried about not being accepted by the people around him. You get that's why he was maybe scared to just say it, like the people around him might react differently, that Troy might treat him differently as his roommate, and Troy is just like, oh, I better do a good job in this then, because you guys are really fussy. Like, that's all he says. He cracks a little joke, and he's ready to just keep going. Like, he
well, yeah, that's it, because obviously he's just there in like, I think he's just in a towel or something.
Yeah.
And like, so he's completely, like, he's shirtless, and you know, he has no problem. He doesn't feel like, oh, immediately I've got to go off and get dressed before I come back and do this. He's perfectly comfortable just standing there as he was, and nothing has changed.
Yeah. So you can tell that so Lionel's very he's in between two different like minorities here. He's part of both worlds, and the idea that this guy just accepted him for who he was and didn't even care, didn't even think about it, is kind of the correct. It could have went another way, but here it was very much the correct reaction.
I think it's interesting because obviously this episode ultimately it makes he's more accepting of all the black group of people where at first, like you say, he's not very secure around them because he's like bad memories from school.
Yeah,
and he didn't fit in anywhere. But over this episode, he fits in with them as well as accepting about being gay.
But I think what that reaction does to him is it makes him feel more comfortable about accepting it himself, because ultimately we see at the end of the episode he finally masturbates, and that's the final moment. Is he actually it's his own face? He finally can relax and like finish, I guess. Like he's finally.
Well, that's it, because every time we've seen it before, it's been interrupted.
Yeah, he's sort of just let it go and not really. But now that he's finally accepted what he is, who he is, he's comfortable with himself, and he can actually live his life. He doesn't have to be bogged down with wondering, am I this, am I not?
Yeah, he can just enjoy it.
Yeah. And I think what this show is maybe going to be tackling a lot, and we've kind of seen this with this one. We've seen it in the last episode with Sam, where where she's listening to other music and she changes it because people have a perception of her being like a certain type of person, and it's the idea of, well, what does it actually mean to be in a group and still have your individuality? Does that mean you fit the stereotype? Not necessarily. You don't have to, because it's even like when Lionel does come out as gay in front of Troy. Troy points out that he is nothing like any of the other gay guys that he knows. Like, he is one of a kind. He's unique.
Yeah.
And he recognises that, and he just kind of practically compliments him on it, and that's kind of it. And it's
pretty much.
It's ultimately kind of unlike the dude that he went back to his place with, who is immediately like trying to like do damage control and go and talk to the girl and try and make her feel better, and just kind of writes it off. He's not accepting of who he is, and it's...
that part was very much showing that the not accepting who you are can not just damage you, but those people around you. Like in this case, it was the roommate, because she was just kind of going along with it, and I think Lionel says, "Yeah, but what did you get out of this?" And that's when she realizes that, hang on, this is harming me as well. The
severity of the reaction implies that she probably does have some sort of feelings for him.
Probably.
He's sort of led her on. It's felt this way, and I think that's. I think it's a very. I think what this show's doing that's really smart is that it's exploring all of the effects of these different disenfranchised people in ways that I don't think I've seen explored before.
No, definitely not.
So I really appreciate that. I think Lionel feels like I wasn't expecting the focus to completely shift in another character, but no, sure enough, we get this 30-minute episode where I feel like I understand Lionel inside and out, and he has an arc, he has a full story, and we can see where...
That's it. I'm almost wondering, like, okay, do we shift back to Sam next episode and go follow her, and maybe it just is like, it's both of their stories, or do we shift to someone else entirely?
I think Troy will get an episode like this. Might not be next, but I can see Troy getting one. I can even see Gabe's the boyfriend, Sam's boyfriend. I can see him maybe getting one.
That would be a really interesting one to have. The one from the white person compared to all the others. I think it would be interesting to see how it differs.
Yeah, but no, I'm really captivated by it. It's also really well told at that moment where he is in bed and he's listening to them having sex, and the music comes in, and then like the walls strip away. It gets quite stylistic.
It does.
For like certain moments, and it plays with that.
And like it's really strong direction in that it tells you everything you need to know by just showing you. We don't need to be told he's gay, because obviously at this point he hasn't accepted it. So we don't need to be told that. There's no verbal thing. We see it and we get it.
And again, I think it's also done a very good job of keeping you in their shoes. We felt this a lot with Sam in the first episode because it was more about the racial stuff. And it was obviously less so in this one because it was mostly focused on the sexuality, like I said, even though a lot of it parallels quite nicely with everything else. But the one moment that stuck out is when he's in the the apartment with the guy and the girl, and they bring up the party, and she like leans back and says, "Oh, white people are the worst." And there's nothing wrong with the statement. She's either cracking a joke or she's being serious. Either way, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with the statement in and of itself, really. But you really feel in his shoes where you feel kind of uncomfortable. Like they feel compelled to talk about it because he's there.
Yeah.
And you kind of feel that uncomfort. It's like they feel the need to do it, even if they're being genuine 100% in what they're saying. They feel the need to talk about it and show that they feel that way in front of you.
Like you said, it's this whole thing of showing how people react in the groups versus the individuals, where they feel like they have to put on a show, they have to put up a certain image just because of that's the group image rather than who they necessarily are. Even if they subscribe to many of those views, it's not all they are, but when they're in the group, that's all they can be seen as.
Oh yeah, I mean, that goes back to the core concept of the show and kind of our own personal viewpoints in life, where they're like individuality kind of trumps everything else, but everyone's obsessed with grouping people together and thinking they'll have got a hive mind, whether it's groups of people based on color or sexuality or gender, or if it's based on something else that's completely
literally
more focused. Yeah. Honestly, I don't think I could be more offended if someone assumed that me and you thought the same way.
I know, it'd be horrific, wouldn't it?
I would not be
just
more
because
offended.
we happen to agree on many things as a group here as Mild Fuzz.
True.
That does not mean that we do not have very diametrically opposed individual viewpoints on many things.
For example, you like Harry Potter for some reason.
I love it. Lord of the Rings.
Oh, Lord of the Rings is so boring. All that walking.
See? Point proven.
All that goddamn walking. But yeah, no, it was an all solid episode. I thought it was a really good exploration of his character, and I'm excited to see where this is going now. Like, because it's all set along the same timelines, we've not actually seen the fallout of Sam admitting that it was her on the radio. We've not seen the fallout of that
we
yet.
haven't seen that yet. That should be interesting.
So I'm curious to see how that affects everyone else. I did like the almost Sherlocky? Maybe not Sherlock. Maybe that's not the right term. It's when he realizes that Sam get interviewed by the principal, and he kind of imagines the meeting in his head, and he kind of sees it like a detective would in a detective story.
Yeah.
I liked that. That was kind of fun. And I like
it reminded me more of what's his name in Hannibal than Sherlock.
Yeah. Dancy's character, Will Graham.
Yeah.
Because I liked that the Dean was like, yeah, some racial outrage. I just thought of you. Or outrage, I said outrage. Like, I thought of you, Sam. I knew it was going to be you. You were going to be the centre of this, because of course it was going to be you. And, she's like, but like... And because I like that Lionel brings up some valid points here. And I think we may have touched on this. It's been a while since we recorded the first video, so I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what we said.
Yeah, but I like Lionel points out about her doing this is that had she not sent out the invites and made it happen, no one would have known that they were ever even considering doing this. So she exposed something in that sense, and Lionel feels that's important, and it is important. Like, people should know that was being planned, because, come on. But, no. Good episode 2. Looking forward to chapter 3.
Definitely.
So there you go, Dear White People, episode 2. And funny, interesting. One of my favourite comments we got in the first video, we got a lot actually, a lot of people commented on that. One of my favourite comments was, I opened this video, saw 2 white dudes and went, oh no. And then it said, but you guys were actually okay, so thanks for the video. I was like, oh, that's nice, I like that.
Yeah, I think before we recorded it, we were conscious that was maybe some people were going to click on this and go, oh, it's 2 white guys talking about this is going to go bad.
Yeah. I do hope that anyone who stuck around and listened to the rest of the opinions at least thought it was a fair, because obviously there was a stupid backlash when it got announced and stupid hate groups and whatnot, a bunch of bullshit. But like, I hope that anyone who stuck around thought we offered a maybe not unique, but a different perspective, a level-headed one at that. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the review. We're back for chapter 3 sometime later this week. I'm not going to make any promises. Technically on the news I promised this for Monday. It is now Tuesday. I'm aware of that. Blame Connor for being sick. He took time off work and everything. Look at him, his sad little face.
It's rough. It's taking everything I've got just to sit here now.
Taking everything I've got to sit upright. Oh, the poor soul. Let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on Twitter, mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. Check out some of the bonuses we've got over there and help us out and keep things going. But otherwise, guys, that is us. So thank you very much for watching. And once again, keep watching TV. Have you got any vanilla? I need to stop saying that at the end of the. I remember saying that at the end of the first one and then having to explain why I say that. It's based on an Iron Fist line that we thought was really funny. I say it at the end of every review. I may have to just change it for Dear White People, just because I can't explain it at the end of every one. I may have to just say something different.
It's funny because it's just habit that you say it. Like sometimes you say it when you're not supposed to say it on other shows.
I do, yeah, I do. But I say it's my outro line. I say it in every TV review, but maybe I'll come up with something different for this. What witty thing related to Dear White People can I say at the end?
Think about it for next one.
See if Sam had a because Sam's opening line in the radio show is always "Dear White People." If she had a closing line, I'd maybe use the closing line.
That'd be good.
But she doesn't, or we don't hear it at least. so I can't. Maybe I should start the videos with "Dear White People." Nah, that's weird. Anyway, thanks guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.